Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Tabitha Caruso, and I am evaluating a famous speech. The speech I have chosen today is Martin Luther King Jr., I Have a Dream. On August 28, 1963, Martin Luther King Jr. delivered his I Have a Dream speech at the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. He delivered the speech giving hope and faith to the victims of segregation and the individuals who were opposed to it as well. He was giving hope that one day the world would work as a whole. As Martin Luther King said, I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold this truth to be self-evident that all men are created equally. Martin Luther King Jr. did this speech because he was tired of segregation and the ignorance that was going on. Martin Luther King did his speech referring to Abraham Lincoln and how he signed the Emancipation Proclamation to free the slaves. This inspired people to fight against segregation because it made people realize that the respective historical figure fought for their rights in the past years. King spoke of the undeniable rights, life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. By pointing this out, he pointed out the foundation of our country was built on freedom for all men and standing up for their rights. King's public speaking techniques began with repetition technique, which he made a point twice in a row with emphasis, details, and explanation the second time. He used the confidence technique. This was when his body was calm and grounded as he delivered his speech. Voice technique. He had a commanding voice that inspired thousands of people. Emotions evoked from King. King idolized a picture of an ongoing American nightmare of racial segregation. King also paints the dream of a better future of segregational harmony and integration. King spoke in front of 250,000 people in front of the Lincoln Memorial, while millions listened on the radio and watched on the television. For African Americans, King carried a message of hope with the promise that the goals of freedom and equality were within reach. For Caucasians, King articulated the American dream by placing African Americans in the contents of the American dream. To conclude, I realized as I was going through my educational years, I began to learn about Martin Luther King. As I got older and my schooling progressed, I began to really understand the actual meaning behind King's speech. He showed how hard it was at that time period having to deal with racism. Just the tone in his voice showed how sincere and committed he was to changing segregation. He inspired many and is still doing so many years later. Martin Luther King always inspired me. He inspired me the way he stood up in front of the stage and did that in front of many people he never even knew.